let's start the roadmap. Okay. So we are talking about full stack web development, right? So before coming into the full stack web development, I wanted to tell, like, so many people are here, engineers are there, BTech engineers are there, even MCA guys are there, BCA guys are there, BSc computer science are there, and MSc computer science. So many guys are there. So everybody, whether they are engineering, BTech engineering, whether they are BCA, MCA, MSc, or any stream of computer science, they always always end up with software development, right? So what do you mean by software development? First, you have to understand what is software development, right? So, like when I say software, what is that it's coming on your mind? It's nothing like, we are making an app or a web design, right? So that we can do the online things, right? Right now, you can see in the Corona time, right? People don't go out. They used to buy things, they used to do even medical, everything they used to do through the online side. How does this online comes? These are all apps, right? So apps, web development, or anything that is called a software, right? So first you have to understand what is software. Software means a set of program. Then you will think, what is program, right? So see, I know every one of you guys have learned maths, right? So when you learn a maths, right, what is that? Like when you say, right, I wanted, like you have done with the maths stories, right? We say that, okay, I have 18 apples with me. Okay, my brother has taken 2 apples. Okay, what is the remaining apple? So what we do, we used to do, like, used to do equation, start from the equation, and then we will get the output. We write so many steps sometimes, right, to get the output. So that steps is called as, we call it as a program, right? So n number of programs joined together makes a software. So let it be anything. So now you see an app. I want to make an app, okay, like Big Basket. So you are writing so many things. So that steps which performs your task is make your software, right? So that software, that's what, whether it is, where are the softwares comes? Basically, you can see, first example, if you take banks, you guys will do daily transactions, right? Nowadays, who will go to the bank? Nobody doesn't go to the bank, right? We all do transaction through online, right? So how do we do transaction? Now, everyone, if you see, look at your mobile, you can see there is an app I have downloaded. Or we will go to the browser and then there we do transaction that's what we do, right? So who is the one developing? That is software people are developing that apps. Software people are developing that webs also. So bank is one example. And if you take another example, daily you guys are ordering Swiggy's, Zomato's, or you can see ordering through online. Restaurants, hotels. Nowadays people don't have time to go and buy, right? So what we do, we will order through there. So there also we are using apps, right? And things. Now, if you see another thing, hospitals, obviously, right? Now you see, you guys all came through the webinar for skilling through the app. That also one side, right? So these are all developed by the software development. So this is the place, like, we are developing our softwares. So that is why a huge demand. Now, coming to the next, when you say full stack development. Okay, first of all, I wanted to tell you what are the job roles in full stack. And then I will go and explain you what is full stack development. So first job role, when we talk about, we can say that you can if you learn full stack, you can become a full-fledged full stack engineer. I'll tell you what is that. Now, in full stack, there is a part is there where we learn Java. So if you are good in Java, we will go and learn, we will go and become a Java developer. That also you can do. So if you learn full stack, you don't have to become a full stack engineer. If you are so good in Java, you can become Java developer also. Suppose you are so good in SQL, you can become SQL developer. See, everybody don't have to become as a full stack. You are learning so many things in full stack. Which area you are good, that you can become. If you are good in Java, you can go for good. If you are good in SQL, you can go in SQL developer. If you are very good in designing, I am too good, I have too good creativity, then you can go for UI and UX engineer. I am very good in administration, then you can go SQL administration. So in full stack, we have two SQL types are the database types. One is SQL and non-SQL also there. So I am very good in non-SQL. Then you can become a non-SQL also. So even you can go as every area of the programming, they can become a software developer also. So there are so many job roles are there in full stack. If you learn full stack, that you don't have to worry that you have to only should go with full stacking. You can go in so many roles where you are great in these areas. If you are great in full stack, then it's too good. There are too many demands are there. So these are the job roles in full stacks we have. Now, when we talk about this, right? When I say UX designer, who is UX designer? The one who designs your things. So you guys always, you have seen, right? Amazon, Flipkart, and you have seen so many sites, right? You very, very beautiful sites, right? So all these sites, if you go, you have seen that it was designed tremendously. Even you guys have gone different sites also, right? So all these apps you have seen, right? Even so many apps you have seen. So nice apps. Even browser you have seen, right? Now, one thing you have to tell me why we go for browser. You know what is browser? Everybody go for browsers, right? Like Chrome is there. Then we have Netscape is there. We have Microsoft is there. We have so many browsers are there. Why do we go for browser? Can you tell why do we go for browser? Because if you install apps, you guys have seen apps only in your mobile. See, in your mobile, I wanted so many things. I wanted to go for I wanted Big Basket, I wanted bank apps, I wanted so many apps. If you go for so many apps, how many apps you will install on your mobile? A number of apps you have to install, right? So your mobile become jam, right? So because of that, people always choose browsers. So browser means what? You can go for Google Chrome, you can go for Microsoft, you can go for any of the browser. If you take one browser, you don't have to download and keep it on your laptop, or you don't have to download and keep it on your mobile. You just need to put the URL. You just put the URL, say, okay, you say www.amazon.com, www.flipkart.com. If you say the URL, what will happen? You will get the site, the site will come there, right? And then you can do whatever you wanted. That site is not downloading to your system. That site, you can do all your things. If you want to purchase things, you can purchase, and then you can go. That is not storing on your system, right? So browser means, what is it doing? It is just coming to your browser, and whichever URL you give Amazon, which you give Flipkart, if you give anything, if you give, that site will come there, and that site, whatever action you want to do, transaction or anything you wanted to do, you can do, and after that you can quit from there. It is not getting download, so your laptop, your mobiles are not going to hang on your things, right? So that is ultimately the use of a browser. Now you see, if from the small shop to the high MNC company and the big companies also, everybody have the sites, right? If the company site is there, the product site is there, even if you go to any place, bank site is there, restaurant site is there, everybody will have. You have your own personal blogs is there, you have your own website is there, you have your own studying sites are there. So many sites are there nowadays. So you can see that every people, one personal person also can have so many sites. Even the companies also have a number of sites. So this is the demand. So if you see in the next upcoming future, who doesn't have the site? Because people don't have to, everybody has to sit in the home and do virtually, right? So if you want to sit in the home and do virtually, we have to make site. If you don't make site or app, how can you do the stuffs, right? So who is the one who's doing the site? Who is the one who's doing the apps? Full stack developers. Full stack developers are the one who does all the things. So if you see anywhere, the full stack are the demandable peoples. They are like in another 20, 25 years or so, this will go. So for full stack, what are the things all you needed, right? So who all can work there? As I told you, right? The first thing in the full stack we needed is the site should be awesome site. So who will make the site? Those who have a very well creativity should be there. They can only make the site, right? So they are called as UX designers. UX designers are the person who makes the site. They will they have a very good drawing creativity is there. They will draw nicely, or that they have the idea how to make the website beautiful. The UX designer will create the site best. So that they are the people who does the designer. Now, and there is one more guys there, we call it as UI designer. UI designer means he don't do designing, he will do coding. Inside, what are the coding? Like example, I'll go through the next thing. We use HTML, we use CSS, we use JavaScript. These are all the codings they do. They are called as front-end developers. Like who does HTML, who does CSS, who does JavaScript, who does React, who does Angular. These are codings they write. They are called as front-end developers. So for the UX designer, they need UI people. That is the front-end developer. So you can go as a front-end developer also, right? If you are very good in coding like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Angular, React, everything can go front-end also. Now, only with the website. For example, if you take a website, Amazon, you can see I'm buying the product. So I am buying, like, for example, 10 quantities. So I need to calculate, right? I need to calculate how much will come for this 10 quantity. So billing, there are some programs I have to write right there. So that programs, who will write? They are backend developers. They are backend developers. And you have seen that in Amazon, Flipkart, there are so many products are coming and going. You are not seeing the same product, same again. They are pulling the products from somewhere. Somewhere they are storing. Who is the one storing? Where we are storing the data? We are storing the data in databases. So backend developers will have two guys. They will have the programming as to write, and they will have the database also there. So if you are too good in coding, you can go as a backend developer. If you are too good in database, you can go as an SQL developer. You can go it as a non-SQL developer also. So that is also one option in full stack. Now there is another thing is you are fully doing everything. Engineering managers are there who manages all the full stack. They all know every area. So they can go that also. Mostly they will be preferable by experienced people. Now after developing the this full thing, people wanted to test it. For example, when I add a product to a cart, okay, it is not adding the quantity. There is a problem there. So before releasing this product, these things, we need to test it. So who is testing? They are the testing engineers. So here they don't have to do coding. They have to slightly know about the coding. So they are testing, and there are so many tools, things are there for testing engineers. They can go in testing also. Now, when we develop a site or we develop something and we have to host it in the cloud. You heard about clouds, right? In the clouds where we have to host, so that everybody over the satellite people can get this site. So who is the one hosting? DevOps engineers. So they can go as a DevOps engineers also. They are the one who deploys hosting. They are the one who does that, DevOps engineer. Now software architect. Especially software architect, when we talk, they are experienced people. Basically, so there is one more person also here, that is called business analyst. In a company, who brings the project? Business analyst is the one who brings the project. So they will talk with the client and they will say they wanted this kind of project they wanted. So the business analyst will understand the project and they will bring that project to the company. So that project will come to the company. Once it comes to the company, what will happen? The software architect and all those people will sit and design the project how they want it. And after that, they will send it to the client and check whether that is it agreeable for the client. Once it's agreeable, then only they start the work. So you can see in the full stack, so many areas people can go and work. If you are a full stack engineer, full stack web development engineer, you can see, right? I have a very good site, but I can't hire all these people. I want somebody who should know every areas. So the people who should know every area are more demandable, because they don't have to give so many people salary. They can give one person and do everything, right? So whenever we release a product, whenever we release a site, then afterwards maintenance will be there, right? We have to maintain the site. So maintaining the sites, most of the people needed full stack engineers. So full stack are the demandable in this world. Without full engineers, full stack web developers, you can't go ahead. They can't develop only. So because if you don't have anybody to maintain, then there is a bug is there. I say, okay, that I cannot add the product. I cannot, billing is not correct. Then who will go to that site, right? They have to correct that bug and they have to maintain. Who is correcting that? The full stack and developers. They will go ahead and correct it and they will do it again. That's what. So what is full stack development? So full stack development is nothing but an app. It's a software development which has two guys. What are the two things? Front end and a back end. When you say front end, everywhere it is a front end. You guys are sitting in front of the laptop, right? That is also front end. So laptop, desktop, whatever you are seeing, that is like you are seeing my, whatever I'm talking and my PPT you are seeing, you are having the keyboard, everything, that is front end. But internally, how it work? That is called back end, right? So if internally the things are not working properly, you won't get that screen there, right? So that is called back end. So yes, front end means a full stack means it should have both together. It should have a front end and it should have a back end. And if you don't design the front end in a proper page, who will go to that site, right? Nobody won't go to the site. We also won't, like, if you don't like the site, we don't go, right? So user interface should be an awesome interface. Then it should work properly. To work properly, then backend should be having a best business logic, and the application flow, it should not break it. The application flow should be a proper one. Then only it become a full stack, right? So that is called full stack. Full stack means it is front end and the back end. Now, when you have seen in the lot of sites, you have seen this full stack development, What is that? It is nothing but it referring the development of both front end and the back end. Front end means the screen which you are seeing. The back end means how the action which coming and projecting to the front end. So the back end, front end both together are called as full stack developments. Now for this full stack, they call it as full stack web developers. Those who are working, doing this full stack, they are called it as full stack web developers. They should have the ability, they should have that to design the web page. So that's what you are learning in the full stack. They should have the ability to design the full web application, and you have to design the full websites also. So you should have that front end, you should design properly, you should design the flow properly in the back end database, and it should debug, it should not come any error or anything. So if you have any problem in any website, we never go to that website, right? So it should work properly. So who take care of this website? Full stack web developers. The full stack web developers are the people who take care of that. So in full stack, there are three technologies. What are the three things? That is front-end development, back-end development, and the database. So three things. If you say only one, we cannot make it as a full stack web developer. So it is like front-end development should be there, back-end development should be there, and the database. So these three things are the things which we needed for a full stack. Now you can see, right? Have a look here. So here, see, this is my user interface. This is my interface. You can see this is an Amazon site, okay? This Amazon site, how nicely they had developed here. So nicely, right? So this, the user interface is your front end. And you can see the back end. I'm writing a coding here, right? The code which I'm writing. And you can see I have a database where I'm storing some data. So the front end will talk to the backend, the coding part, and the coding will go and directly talk to the database. Again, so you will pull some data to the backends. From there, it gives to the front end. So this full action, we call it as full stack. This full action, we call it as full stack. Now you have to know about, for making a front end, what are the things you need to learn, to making a data backend server, what are the things you need to learn, and for making a database. So this whole thing, we call it as a full stack. This is what we say as a full stack. So you guys, like, if you study full stack, you are working in all the areas. The front end, the back end, the database. Some people are too good in front end. So you can say they are very good in creativity, they can design, they will be going as a front end engineer. So if you are very good in coding, you can go here. If you are very good in database, they can go here also, right? So these three things has to be there. Now let's see what is front end. So as I told you, what is front end? It's nothing but a web application. Web application, we call it as like a website, right? Where we can interact, user can interact. That's why we are making a web application. So if I wanted to buy something, I should get that site and I should interact. Then only I can go, right? So that site should develop nicely, should design nicely. So the browser understands only one language. So what is language? Everybody has a language, right? We also have language. We use so many language, but our business language is English, right? I talk to you guys with English, but sometimes, we used to talk with our native languages, right? So to understand this, language is just a communication. It's just a communication. Just like that, here in computer also have languages, right? If you want to talk with a browser understands only one language. What is that language? HTML. You have to write in HTML, then the browser will respond to you. If you don't write in HTML, browser never responds to you. So HTML means it's nothing but a hypertext markup language. Means, see, you have a newspaper. If you have a newspaper, what you do? You will write the text there, right? And that is what you're coming as a newspaper, right? Same like your browser is also like a newspaper, where you are writing your text in the form of HTML and that is responding to you, right? So here you have to use the first language called HTML. That language, that is the one who is the front end, which makes a web page. What does it makes here? This is where you will write the text documentation. These HTMLs are written in the form of tags. Tags we use. We call it as tags. So here you have to learn so many tags to write an HTML. So you will have head and body tag will be there. So you have first basic thing, you have to learn the HTML. So that is the first thing you have to learn. So after learning the HTML, you have, so see, once you write plain text and things, images, but you don't have any style. If you don't make any style, if you don't make any design, who will go to that page, right? Nobody will. So you have to make it stylish. How do you make stylish? Styling is come by the another thing called CSS. CSS means Cascade Style Sheet. Cascade Style Sheet means you have some text, you have some images, you have some documents, but to make it very nice, styling, and very attractive colors, things, everything, border, margin, everything, you have to make it properly in a proper way. So that unless and until if you don't study CSS, you can't make a web page proper way. So you have to learn CSS. CSS is very important because if your website is not a good website, looking good, attractive, no presentable way, nobody won't go to that website. So you have to make it a very attractive website. For that, you have to learn CSS. In CSS, we also have a lot of animation, transition things. So many things are deep down into that. So the more you learn, the more you can make into the attractive point. Okay. So that CSS will come. Okay. Now, next thing is when I click on one product, if see I have an Amazon site is there. When I click on one product and I click buy, it should go to add to cart. So there should be some action to be performed, some behavior to be performed. So if you want some action or some behavior to perform, you should go for JavaScript. Because otherwise HTML and CSS, you can make beautiful websites, but that websites are not dynamic websites, static website. You cannot like when you click it won't go to that. You will go to next page or something, but action won't perform. So any behaviors won't perform. So if you want some action to when you click on that, that it should perform something, then you should go for JavaScript. So what is JavaScript? JavaScript is nothing but a scripting language. Then you guys will ask me like, what is the difference between scripting and programming language? Yes, it is a huge difference. Because scripting languages are used only for the websites, like, web developments, basically. Why? Because you see, when you go for programming languages like Java, Python, or any other programming languages, they are using for server side. Server side, it's like heavy weight, like it's a huge weight that you cannot bring over the satellite. You cannot bring it towards your browser, because browser is a guy which you can get only lightweight. So lightweights are scripting languages. So in Java only the main thing, there is a scripting language, we call it as JavaScript. So that basically used for the web developments, where if you wanted any program to be written, or if you wanted any action to be done, or any interactive with the users, we go for JavaScript. So if you want any functionality, you wanted to make more functionality, like you guys see, right? You go for games. When you click on that, then the bubble burst, you can see games and all these things. How these actions are done? These actions are done through the JavaScript. So that is why JavaScript is necessity. So to make a website, actually we need only these three things: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. If you do these three things, you can make awesome websites. JavaScript are so much deep down there. If you learn so much, JavaScript are the most demandable people, because there are lots more we can write here. Now, if you wanted more attractive ways, in front end there are two guys are there. That is framework and libraries. There are two things are there. There are two things you have seen in the market, always say Angular, right? So Angular is the advanced guy of JavaScript. It's not necessary to use. If you use that, then you can use something called framework. So what is framework? You have to see that. First, you have to understand what is framework. There are two guys are there. That is framework and library. So you need to understand first what is framework. So there are, like, it's a big thing which you have to do, expanding, continuously growing, and you can make a big website. You can make lot of websites. Making that, it help you to make code efficiently, and it can, the best way you can do the coding, and you can deliver quickly also, very fast also, and it is easy to do, and you can expand lot of things. You can make the static HTML into a dynamic HTML. So these all things will AngularJS will help you, and it is called as a single page web application. This is what we develop, single. So if you wanted to make it a tremendous dynamic HTML, you have to go with Angular. And you can use, like, you can fast you can deliver, and you can write the code as a reusability code. This all you can go ahead with AngularJS. Then next is React. You have seen that also in the market, right? A lot of people are using React. React is not a framework, it is a library. What do you mean by library? Library means it's add-on thing, right? Add-on thing. What is add-on thing? Like, it is not there. If you wanted, you can take it. You can import the library and use it. Why we are using this library? Because additional functionality will get. The very good thing in the React is we can use the concept called dry. Don't repeat yourself. Means one time you can write and you can use it so you can use it for so many places. You can make it as a component. We can make it and put it in the library, and one place also I wanted, other place also I wanted, you just call it. So that is called React. Your code will be very small, and you can use it in so many places. So the React is maintained by Facebook. actually. They only develop this thing, actually. Now it has been so increased so many places, it become because React are the most efficient code. People can write in simplified way and they or it is easy to do also. So people all uses React more. So even if you do one time, you can use the same code for other places also. So that is the best thing they people go for React. Now another thing is Bootstrap. You guys see, right? I have told you, right? CSS. What is CSS? It's nothing but a styling sheet, right? So if I wanted a background and I wanted to make beautiful site, in one particular page I want to make. And same thing I want to make in another places also. And same thing I want to make it in another project also. So like that, if you are keep repeating, so what happened? No, the Bootstrap are coming with a collection of responsive website. They make small, like header one part, footer one part, or some particular area one part. They make small collection of responsive website where it is easy. You can have lot of templates. And if you see, if you take 1 day, 2 day to make one page, Bootstrap will help you to make fraction of seconds. In fraction of seconds, you can make a website. There are a lot of ready-made stuffs are there in the Bootstrap. And you can customize also. So that is why people go for Bootstrap. So now you can see that in the front end, what are the basic things we needed? The basic things are HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That's the basic thing. If you learn in this HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, then you are the experts. You are the experts. Now, if you know Angular, or you don't have to know both together, either Angular or React, you are the best in the market. Right? The market are demand in the Angular, are demanded in the React. Now, if you know all these things, then you can go as a front-end engineer. This much only you needed to become a front-end engineer. You can even go for you have very good creativity, you can go for a React, you can go for a UI designer also, you can go for a UX designer also. I told you the difference. UX is the person who designs the website. UI means the person takes the help of these tools, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Angular, and all these things. They are called as UI developers. They are the one who develops this one. So you can go, this much only is enough for to make a front end, guys. Now, next, when you say one more thing, that is called jQuery. jQuery is, there are so many frameworks, so many libraries are there. In that, we have seen React one library. Like that, there is one more library is that is called jQuery, which makes your document very simplified. Like you wanted to do an event, click event, something when you click, it has to do that. Some library for some Ajax, some interaction, or you wanted to cross browser, something you want to use, or you wanted to like document object model you want to make, then we go for jQueries. jQuery is the one which help for all these simplifying. There are so many functions are there in the jQuery library, where if you bring that, you can use that and you can make it very easy way. So that is also that. Then we can, to make these things, we can go for so many editors. Basically people use editor Visual Studios, and there are editors like Atom, Sublime. These are all editors where we can develop our, where we can write our code here. And we can make the best UI, UX, and we can write even everything, and even we can upload to the GitHub, we can do everything. Then and there only the best editor we use is Visual Studio. So you can make, develop, you can execute, you can deploy, everything you can do it there. So that is also important point here. So these are the things for the front end. Okay. So now coming to the next is backend. I told you there are three guys, right? Front end, backend, and the database. So when I say backend, like, what is that? The server side development, right? Of the web. So somebody has to write code here. Somebody has to write code here for the web. Where we need code? You can see when I click on the product, it should go to add to cart. When I say quantity double, then it has to die the quantity, and that means the price, it has to appear there, and it has to provide the proper billing and the GST things, everything. So where we are writing these codes? These codes are writing on the backend. So backend, we use so many things like programming languages we use, that is PHP. That was the olden trend people used to. Easiest way, PHP is the one way people use whenever they go for website designing, people go for PHP. So PHP is the one website is there. Nowadays, the people don't go much into the people because there are a lot of constraints are there. So first thing for a backend developer as a programming, people go for PHP. Then even C++ also people use us. There are so many ways. Earlier days we used C++. They are CGI ways they can go for. But now nobody is not going. Now people are trending in Java. So Java is one of the most popular language people use as a backend. Like it is easy and it is the most demandable, and you can write the code however you want. It is like easy way. And you can reuse the code anywhere, wherever you want it. So Java people can write easily. So people makes the backend one as a Java also. Now even people makes the backend as Python also, it is there. Python also you can write. You can integrate easily. Python is the one where we can you can write. But the thing is, more secure and more scalable is Java always. You can write easily Python, but more secure is always Java, right? So however you want, you can go. Some companies use Java, some companies uses Python. And if not there, people uses another trend way is JavaScript. JavaScript also you can make it as a backend programming also. And even there is another trending where people don't use Java, Python, and the easiest way they use is Node.js. Node.js is nothing but is same as JavaScript only. It's an extension of JavaScript only, where you can write your code things through the JavaScript. By using the JavaScript, you can write it through the Node.js. So that is the easiest. People who front end who study, they very difficult for them to come and learn Java, and they won't understand. So they will understand easily when they go for Node.js. So Node.js is the best thing, people go there. Now, even if you wanted to make complexity of the code and more thing you have to write, then people will go for Java and Python. Java is the best one, people will go. So backend programming, people go with these things. Got it. So backend framework, even if you go, there are a lot of frameworks are there, Express, Django, Rails, Springs. And if you go for programming like C# is there, Ruby, Rest, like that, so many are there. But nowadays, people don't go much into that. So JavaScript is the basic trending thing, and Java is the one people go with. So as I told you, right? Now, when you make a front end, if you wanted to write the programming, you need the help of any programming languages. You can go with Java, you can go with Python, you can go with JavaScript, you can go with Node.js also, right? Then that is a programming language where we need it for the full stack development. Now, after coming the programming language, you need somebody to store the data. So database is basically for what? We have to store the data, right? Then you will say, okay, why can't I store in files? Yes, obviously you can store in the files. You can store in the text file, you can store in the Word file, you can store in Excel. But think about retrieving. How can you retrieve a data? I want to retreat, I wanted to update, I wanted to delete all these operation. If I store it in an Excel file, is it possible? It's very difficult, right? I want someone who should have an organized and structured way where it stores someone. Oh, so the organized and structured way of storing is the database. He is well organized guy where he stores everything in the form of tables, in rows and columns, and he properly organized and put it everything like in the form of table, views, schemes, reports, so that whenever we use, the manipulations are very easy. You can pull the records, you can insert the record, you can update, you can delete. You don't have to worry about just one line of sentence is enough for that. That we call it as SQL, structured query language. Structured query language. That's the language for the database, right? So when we say about database, there are a lot of databases are there in the market. Like MySQL is there. If you are a small organization or if you are a normal company, people can go for MySQL, which is a Microsoft product. And even you can see in MS Office itself, there is one database which is coming is Access. They can go for Access. If your personal use, you can see in the mobiles and all where it is storing. Mostly like Access will be there. So you can store in the Access as a personal thing. Now, if you're a big organization and they have to store data in a big thing, then they can go for SQL Server, they can go for Oracle, they can go for tremendous. Depending upon the size of the database, you can go for which database you want. So if you go for Oracle, the Oracle has so many big, even small edition are there, small express editions are there. Even if you see big server, client server editions are there, lot of editions, lot of ways of database are there. So Oracle is the one where if you want to store the data, where you can retrieve the data and you can manage the data. So you can use. Then these database are of two ways. That is SQL and non-SQL. SQL is a guy who organized the data in an organized manner in the form of tables. So if you want organized way, then you should go for SQL. If you don't want an unorganized way, unstructured way, then you should go for MongoDB. That is called NoSQL. So we say, like, there's unstructured way. There are two ways you can go. One is structured way and non-structured way. So structured go for certain databases, non-structured go for another databases where it doesn't have the concept of tables. So MongoDB is also one of the popular database who supports the web applications, but it is a NoSQL database and it is always in a documented oriented database. It doesn't have, it's not like in the form of tables, rows and columns. It's a different structured way. You can, in MongoDB, you can use it by graphs. You can go for any bar diagram, pie chart, or anything you wanted, like non-structured ways, anything. People always go for MongoDB. MongoDB are the best for the website designing. When you want to connect with the database, MongoDB are always good. Because if you connect with Node.js and all, MongoDB people will go for, because it's a very compatible guy which connect with Node.js. Okay, so if you are learning with Node.js, people will always go and learn with MongoDB. That's the best thing. Okay, so MongoDB is also there. Then who else are there? Then MySQL also there. So MySQL is also a guy who supports with the web design. So we need a database. So that database is basically to store the data, to create, like maintain, retrieve we need. And that is the database. And here, when we go and learn a full stack, there are two ways you can go for full stack development. There are two things easiest way. One is mean stack. Mean stack, people will go with MongoDB, Express, Angular, and Node. Same like there is something called merge stack also, where MongoDB, Express, this. So two ways. There are so many types of stacks are there. Mean stack, merge, Dango stacks, even you have lamb stack, like that. So many ways are there. So if you go for lamb stacks and all, Linux, Apache, MySQL, like that, people go like that. So now the popular way people go with mean and merge stacks. So these are the two ways people go for it. Now, when you come inside a web application, you can see the web application has two sides. What are the two sides in a web application? That is, one is client side and another is server side. So you see, right, client side, what you see that things which you are seeing in the front end. Front end means the GUI, the screen, user interface, how you design. That is the front end. No, server side means that is the back end. Back end means you are writing the program, whether you are writing in Java, whether you are writing in Python, whether you are writing whichever language you use, that is the back end. And you need to store somewhere. So for that, we use databases. We use databases, MySQL, or we use for MongoDB also. So either one we will be using. So we use programming. So you can't directly connect client with the back database. You need the programming language. Through the programming language, you are talking with the database. So from client side, you will connect with the server side and then the database is done. That is how the web application works. Now, if you see back-end programming, what is back-end development? Like what are the skills to become a back-end developer and what is the roles and responsibility for the back-end developer, right? Now, what is back-end? You can see here, front-end already you guys understood, right? Front end, we need HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and if good, Angular, React will go, right? That all will make the browser beautiful sites, right? Now, if you want to write program, we should go for backend, where we write the server codes, and we need to store somewhere. For that, we go for databases. If you don't have a database, where will we go and store it, right? We need that. Now, backend, as I told you, server-side development. So we have to focus on database also. Why we want to store that? You can see that I have to store the data, right? You have to store the data. Whenever you want it, you have to retrieve the data and you need to give security access also. Like for example, okay, all the data I should not give to everyone. So like, you know, the privileges point, I have to give access to the data. I should give for all the data to this person. I should give certain data only for this person. That user privileges also you should able to give, right? So these all things also your database will handle it and the program also. Now, when you say like, you know, to make a backend developer, when you say back-end developer, what are the things you have to well-fledged knowing in the programming language? So when I say programming language, what are the languages here? Java is there, Python, or any most trending is the one Java. So you have to know about Java, advanced Java, all these things you have to learn about that. Then you have to store, you should go and even you have to use a lot of library files. Because if I say advanced Javas, like you have to know about advanced Javas. Like now the trending advanced Javas are Spring Boot, microservices. So these all library files. What are the library files I should need it? So these also I should need these things, right? So that API should know. API means application programming interface. So you should know about that also. So only with Java you can't do, you have to learn the high-end technologies like Spring Boot and microservices. These all have to learn that. Then you should know about databases. As I told you, the most trending databases which are using for the web developments are MySQL and the MongoDBs we have to. And you should know about the servers also. When we are hosting it somewhere, we should need a server where who manages all these multiple users. Right? If you have to connect, when our websites are published, so many users will connect with that, no? So no, everyone should have individually have to do everything, right? So this also needed. So these are all done in our programming languages, right? So when I say backend developer server side, I told you you should be well versed in one programming languages, right? Either you can go in the trend of JavaScript, if you go, then you can go with Node.js and Express. Then that is enough. You don't have to go with another point. Because if you learn HTML, if you learn CSS, if you learn JavaScript, and if you know React, Angular, and then go with Node.js, Express, that is enough. You can go a very beautiful website with the full stack web development. And you can connect with MySQL. You can connect with even MongoDB also there. Now, if you are not using Java, you can use as a JavaScript as a front end, but not as a backend. Then you can use Java. In Java, we go for Spring Boot. Spring Boot is the one where we can use as a programming for a website development. So that we will use. Now, if you are going with Python, there is something called Flask is there. Then if you are going with C#, you have something called ASP.NET and ASP.NET Core. These are olden types. We are not using these things. The trending thing we are using is Java Spring and JavaScript Node.js. These are the server-side programming which people go and use it right now. So this is the thing. Now, when you say about database, backend developer need one more guy, right? That is the database who stores the data, who retrieves the data, who does all the things. So that database technology that is being used in a thing called DBMS technology, that is database management system. So to store, retrieve all these managing things, there are so many databases are there for this. MySQL, MongoDB, Oracle, SQL Server. These are the trending databases we have to use. So basically, people will all use MySQL and MongoDB, right? They are high-end technologies, high-end storage system, then they will go for Oracle SQL Server like that. Okay. Now, when we say write coding will come like this, no? Like where we use application programming interface, where we can use, if you are using JavaScript, they uses basically server programming, they use more of JSONs, where the code will be like this, where you have to write the code, things, pick and connect with that. So backend program or Java you can use. So that is how it comes. Now, after doing all this programming, your front end you have done, Java coding you have done, and database you have done. Finally, you have to do something called, you have to host it, right? Hosting. You have to upload the codes. You have to host it, right? Where you are hosting, right? You have seen, right? A lot of places we GoDaddy, domain things, we host the websites, right? Like that, nowadays we have Git is there, subversions where you can upload, host, and then you can publish things. All these version control softwares, they will take care of your full website. And there is the one where DevOps is the one who take care of the things. So this is also part, they don't do coding, they do all these things. And this, if you see the full stack web development in our place, in scaling, how do we teach it? We go for like, front end, where we have HTML as a front end, CSS, JavaScript, React, Angular. We have bootstraps also. We have so there. The front end will be developed based on that. And the backend we are using basically Java, Spring Boot, microservices, and data structures, algorithms. The backend, through that we are writing the program for the backends. And the databases we uses are MySQL and MongoDBs. Both you will learn, and even we uses backend as a Node.js also, and we uses even clouds also, where we uses for the web servers. So this is how the full stack of the full thing is going on. And to make a browser, as I told you, right, we have two parts of there, front end and the back end. The front end, where it is publishing? It is publishing on your browser. This browser can be on your desktop. It can be on your desktop, it can be on your mobile, or it can be on your laptop, wherever it is. We are making only one application, and it should come and display on your browser, right? Whichever device you use doesn't matter. Whether you use tab, whether you use laptop, whether you use desktop, whether you use mobile, doesn't matter. It has to come in the browser. The size doesn't matter. So the front end, how do we design the front end? By using these tools, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. And if you're going with the Node, JS, Express, MongoDB, or else you can go with Java, and you can go with Spring Boot databases. So whichever you use, right? Programming language, you can use either Node.js or Java you can use. And you can use a lot of frameworks like Spring Boots. So many things you can use it. And you can use the databases. You can use which storing method you want to use. You can go with either MySQL databases. You can go with either MongoDB database you wanted. So which storing method, which method feature you like, that feature you can adapt and use it for the database. And which web server you can use. Like, why do we need web server? As I told you, right? Because millions of users are connecting to your websites, right? So it should be like one to their data should not go to the another person. So every data which are passing through that, it should be secure things. And see, if I ordered certain thing, I should get it, right? It should not get to the next user. So that is controlled by the web servers. And operating system. Operating system means if you put a platform dependent operating system, I develop my application in Windows. I cannot execute in Linux, right? I cannot execute in Mac. If I call any browser, if I call a browser through a Linux, if I call a browser through a Mac, if I use any operating system, it should be independent operating system. So let it be any operating system. Whichever browser I use, doesn't matter. But if I develop an application in Windows, it should come on Linux also, it should come on Mac also, it should come on Solaris also, whichever operating system. So that we call it, it should be a platform independent. So that should be the way. So whenever you make an application, whichever application you are making, whether web application, or apps you are making, mobile apps you are making, whichever thing you are making, but two things should be considered. One is operating system should not be dependent, right? It should run on any operating system. Any operating system, any browser. So browser also, if I use, Windows browser, I use Google Chrome. But if I go to Mac, I don't use Google Chrome. Yes, I use different browser, right? So that operating system also, if I give the URL, it should come. So anywhere, if I give the site name, it should come there. So that is one of the main thing. So here, if you learn the full stack, the HTML, CSS, JavaScript will take care of all the things. You don't have to worry about the operating system, you don't have to worry about the browser. It will take care and it will come anywhere, wherever you want. So that is one of the ultimate thing. That's why people all are going with full stack. Why? Because you can use it. I make it an application in Linux, but I'm accessing it from Windows. I have no problem. I'm getting that. Sometimes I access it from mobile. It is coming according to the mobile screen. I'm accessing it from the tab. I'm coming out, it is coming. So one time application you make, that is doesn't matters to the size, doesn't matters to the operating system, it is coming. So that is why full stack are growing. Everyone needs not only website, even website can be anything. It can be a company website, it can be a product website, it can be a blog, it can be a person website, it can be a number of things. So that is there everywhere. So it's a huge demandable thing. So to make a website, we need to follow all the things. Now, if you will ask what is the future of the full stack, right? So there are tremendous high demand future in full stack developers. You only guys think about that, right? See, without a website, without an app, can we, live in the future? No. We can't live in the future because we wanted these things. So who will develop all the things? Full stack developers. So they should be skilled in all the things. They should be well-fledged skill with the skills. So full stacks are the demandable things in the world. They should be well-fledged. There is no other tools are there. These are the tools they have to use because the browser understands only these tools. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Angular or React or Bootstrap for the front end. Or if you can use for the back-end programming, you can go for Node.js, you can go for Express, you can go for like that, or else you can go for Java, or else you can go with Python. But these are their back-end programming they go for. Or databases, they always go for MongoDB or MySQL. If it's a big client, they go for Oracle, SQL Server, like that. So you are learning all these tremendous areas. All the areas you are learning, and you only think that you are putting your effort for all the things. Here, how many job roles you are doing? You are doing the front-end job, front-end. You are doing the UI designer. You are doing the UX designer. You are doing the back-end programming. You are doing the database, the SQL developers. You are doing the testing. You are doing the DevOps also, your cloud also, everything you are doing, right? So that is why it is fully demand on your field in India or anywhere in the world. Because see, after, even if you make an application also, after that, these applications has to be maintained. Every time there will be problem, things will come, right? If you don't maintain these applications, then it will die. Nobody won't go to that site. Nobody won't go to that app. So that maintenance, every company, every place, they needed full stack engineers. That is why full stacks are highest paying jobs. And every location, every place in India itself, there are highest paying guys. They start from 4.5 to 9.5 also. There are people who are experienced who have 16 to 20 also, because you can see every area they are doing. And as I told you, right, if you are very good in certain areas, you can go it as a certain areas also you can go, right? So full stack is the next future on your thing. So these are the tools which you have to learn on the full stacks. And now you will be asking, like, who can become a full stack, right? Now, who can become a full stack? In this, you don't have to ask, like, anybody can study full stack. Anyone can become a full stack developer, Right? Basically, they should have be like B.Tech engineers or a BSc or BCA, or anybody can become. There are more advantages in the full stack, right? Why? Because budget friendly, right? On time you can deliver the products, it is easy. And the trends are learning is easy, like knowledge of the latest. And whichever any bugs or anything, you can easily fix it. And you are getting very tremendous experience in that, and you have a better productivity, and flexibility is easy, and it has high quality product also. Like, so these are the advantages of hiring a full stack. So once you learn, you can go through with all the things. You can go ahead in a best way. So that is why people need it here for the functionality, for the maintenance, and so many things they have to design. So they want add-on feature, they can design also. They need a lot of development teams also, right? So both they can be a front end, they can be a back end developer, they can become a web developers also. So as I told you now, I hope you guys have understood about the UX designer, UI designers also, right? So in e-commerce, in this growing trend of our world, we needed in whichever area, whether it is a banking application, healthcare, or any places, full stacks are needed for this. So we needed these full stacks people in our full place all over the world. We needed. So that is why Skillings are providing the best full stack developments. So they are growing up, right? So you guys can see here in our full stack development only, there are some people, students who had done awesome full stacks. Full stack things. I'll just show you this one. You guys can see that how amazing websites they had made it. So I'll show you the skill links. Our students have done a lot of awesome websites where they can, you guys see here. So you have a look here how students has made, see, this is our students have developed these applications. So these are like, see how nicely they had developed all these sites, and where they can, this is what one student they have done. So these kind of awesome websites, you can do a lot of applications. You see how nice this one, right? This is also like through our full stack development, our students have done all the things. This one, like this, if you guys study also, you guys also can become the best uh, full stack developments. Like this is one of the site, and you can see on another site, this like this grocery site. There are a number of things our students are developing. So like this, you can see the designs they did, right? How nicely they design, how nicely they had coded inside, how nicely they connect with the databases, how nice. So all these technologies, they are used here to become the best. This one. So like this, you guys also can become the best if you think about that. So that is all about my full stack. I hope you guys have understood about our full stack development.